The work session of the Mayor and Council for the town of Berlin. We're here with the Berlin Fire Company. We have President David Fitzgerald and Chief Andy Grunden joining us. We have the full council, our town attorney David Gaskell. We're going to begin with the fire company and Chief Grunden.
Basically, the agenda is the same as we've been using. Just I guess if you want to brief us on the impact fees, and then I did follow up before you start. I did follow up with both Selbyville and Pittsfield who have these, and they collect them. Selbyville's is $500, and they send the money over to the fire company every quarter. Pittsfield's is $1,000, and that's split between fire and EMS. So again, just I know you got a study coming and all that, but I'm just afraid you're going to miss the boat again with the development that you got coming. I don't want to call them out and individualize different ones, but you know what building permits from your planning office are coming down the pipe, and especially, I can say, especially, you got a hotel coming, you miss all those EDUs, you're just missing opportunities. And I understand your study, but at some point, maybe you have to do something and talk to your attorney and your professionals to get something done as an intermediate step, so you don't miss out on all these monetary opportunities.
We agree with you on that. Once you lose the revenue, it's difficult to recapture it. The impact fees, we did push out an RFP. Unfortunately, we didn't have anybody respond to the RFP, so we weren't able to move that ball forward. However, what we've been able to do is pivot a little bit. We've worked previously with Beacon over at Salisbury University, the Business Economic Community Outreach Network, and they did our strategic plan. They did stuff for the community center. What else? I think that might have been it. But with that being said, I've spoken with John Hickman, who's in charge of Beacon, and they're willing to look at the project. We've sent them the RFP. We've been in discussions with them. So hopefully we'll be able to we might have to section out the fees, the additional fees, and really just move forward quickly with the impact fees so that we don't miss out on some of that revenue and then come back for the fee side of things later. So hopefully we're going to be making some meaningful progress with that in the next, I'd say, couple council meetings to have it in
Is it possible we could do an add-on fee to our existing impact fee and not wait?
The challenge is that we have no way of justifying the math.
Well,
and if we're going
if it's for
yeah, but we can't even justify the math that we have now. So to add more to it,
Our fees are too low.
our fees probably are low.
2,000, and I don't know why this happened, but they put the amount right into the ordinance, 2,000.
Okay.
So you can't change it
But we'll have
unless you
to,
amend the ordinance.
yeah, we're going to have to amend it. But the thing is that, and legally, I don't know this as much as what you might, but we have to be able to provide justification of the fees. And right now, we know that the math was completed to arrive at the 2,000.
Right.
We just can't find that math, nor the subsequent justification for it.
So,
So,
but that's for the impact to the city.
So we can give you the justification for the fire because, and I've done it before back when Mayor Williams was here, based on.
it would be very helpful to have
And
that.
so I'll try to go find that,
But-
which I can. It's
Yeah.
just not back
Does
within 30
MML have
seconds.
some sort of throwdown stopgap measure you can turn to and go, look, in the meantime, since we didn't get it, and we're waiting for Beacon, can they
Yeah.
produce something for you?
So I've reached the MACO, MML, and MSFA, and been around. So that's the information that I have.
Do you have
It
any,
is,
like,
well, just they give me the phone numbers to call, and just
Yeah.
like I would communicate with the town manager at Pittsville on Friday. And which, like you said, you got to have justification. So I'll just give you an example. We'll pull our historical response to say an apartment complex that has 16 units in it. And we need a ladder truck. The ladder truck costs $1.8 million. It's 20 years. You just do the depreciation, you just do the math.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you're not going to pay 100% of it. We know that because we're getting county funds. We know that. So you put all that in the math, and there's the number per EDU for a complex like that. Okay, let's divide out how many calls 2 residential homes, and you do that same depreciation. That's your number for residential home. Those other communities, how they came up with their numbers. I didn't dig into it, other than they just said they did the same thing like.
I'm just saying, if we could take a proactive approach to this, we can get them some necessary funding, we can start the ordinance change process, at least get that in the works.
And
I
all
think
the
if you
ones
could
I've
provide
talked
the
to-
justification would be very helpful. I mean, even if we kind of take this from a couple different pathways.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, looking at the people's ordinance, your council is right on the money. They do not have it in the
Right,
ordinance.
right.
They adopt that
That way
as
you
their
can raise it.
July 1st during their budget process.
Yeah,
They
you can raise it by resolution instead
They
of
do
going
it
through redoing.
by the
ordinance.
budget of the fee schedule.
Now, are you aware of any other towns other than Pittsville and Selbyville that?
There was others, there are two the closest that are small, but
Okay.
there's other ones I can dig up my research, or you can reach back,
Okay.
out.
So am I just understanding this? So the impact fees,
I feel like I'm
you're
cutting you off.
looking would be in addition to what is already provided?
Well, yes, because you're not providing a capital. So impact fees, the funds that are being provided now, other than
Okay.
the 15,000 that's coming out of.
Well, I thought we were
They would be
doing-
paid by new development,
Right,
not
right.
existing town
So
citizens.
what would we do? Okay. Maybe we should probably include in this discussion some sort of gap in the event that we have a situation where we're not collecting EDUs, i.e.
It wouldn't be an
a more-
EDU,
It's not.
it's separate.
I mean, an impact fee for whatever reason that development is not happening. If there was a moratorium or something,
Yeah.
we would need to figure that out. I don't
Exactly,
think we do that
exactly.
now,
That's,
but-
that's where we get to the capital funding
Okay.
discussion, is
But
how do you do that?
I do want to clarify for fire, we still do 2,000 ops, 150 capital, correct?
No. No, we haven't had any capital money for fire in quite some time, other than the one-time ARPA funds.
Well, we repurposed the SCBA ARPA funds.
It was
for the-
ARPA funds, it wasn't
for the
town
payment.
tax dollars, it was ARPA grant funds that were reallocated. So we haven't had any capital funds for fire, and we've never had it for EMS, other than
I think that-
15,000 for the.
The way that I would tailor that is that the impact, or the capital contribution came from the town, but the town chose to use ARPA funds to cover that. I think that looking at that as like a separate bucket is probably not the best way to do that. But we're splitting hairs there.
But we can start with the math Dave
Can provide.
has, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, I'll get with Mr.
absolutely.
Berkey, and we'll update it, because I know it's old. I'll have to get with them, get the
Yeah,
depreciation
put the
schedule.
documents, send it to me.
Yeah. It just be basically a depreciation schedule that shows what it is, and then we'll do the math of how many calls we go onto like a 16.
Would you be able to use like Ocean's East as an example?
Yep, that's about the
Yes,
ones.
we don't, but we don't break it out. The important way to look at this is like a residential and then commercial.
Yeah.
We don't
But you've
break
got
it out.
You've got a mixed use coming, and then what's going
But
on
the,
Broad
but the
Street.
thing is our code, correct me if I'm wrong, but our code only differentiates commercial and residential. So that when you look at this, I wouldn't get too in the weeds of like, this is what a 16-unit complex looks like, this is what a multi-use looks like. You gotta kind of, I'm not saying you all have to do the math on it, but I'm saying that we have to arrive at what's a justifiable rate for residential, what's a justifiable rate for commercial.
So you want a broader picture?
We need that, yeah.
But you also have to delineate high occupancy residential compared to single-family home residential.
Correct. And, but also when you're looking at those things, look at, okay, if we change, I always use the example of a hardware store, right? We change a hardware store to a restaurant, what does that look like for you? If we take a piece of commercial property and upzone that in some way, what does that look like? Because that would capture some impact fees as well.
But generally, it's always the developer that fronts it.
It is a developer.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any
Well,
municipality.
They pass it through,
Right,
it's
right.
a pass through, but, yes.
With, you said Ocean's East, you got that looming, the Tyson plant looming, and it seems like the Broad Street project over there is getting near the finish line. Am I misreading the progress on that?
No,
Particular neighborhood?
you're right. I mean, we have some stuff that are in development that, to David's point, to everybody's point, would be wise for us to try and capture that revenue
Before, yeah,
sooner
before the
rather
horse is out of the
than,
barn?
sooner rather than later. It's difficult to
Yeah.
come back to, and try to get a bite of the apple, so. All right, move on to the contract, the one part that we love.
Yeah, well, just want to ask, so we don't, if we're just going to continue with the contract as it is, or we had talked about last year, splitting it into two documents and having the recitals is the word I use, if Mr. Gasco has a different
No,
terminology.
that's what they are.
But just the regular recitals and have an MOU signed, and then the contract is basically just the budget discussion. That's it.
We could do that, or we could keep the same.
Or just keep it like
we
it
could
is.
Keep it like it is, but make it for 5 years.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about it.
Joe and them will work on like an automatic renewal. Yeah. So
I think it's important that we come together about the funding side of it. The basic language of the agreement, I agree. If we find a way that we can get that kind of standard so that we can just have some fun talking about numbers, that would be better. Because that's really the nuts and bolts of it, right? I mean,
Well, when I had brought it up before, I know there was multiple of us had brought it up, but what I was thinking was something like what Gaskell just said, was some sort of thing where we don't have to necessarily review the details every year, except for the numbers.
Okay.
So if we could do something like an MOU/contract/agreement, whatever the legalese is, it is for a set amount of time, 3 or 5, that has the amount of time we want to spend in meetings that can be coordinated through the mayor's office.
I think
And
it's worked out well.
and
with that.
the
I wouldn't want to
Right.
reduce the amount.
No, I think it's, I think the way
just
that
so
we've
it's-
done it.
So it's just
is
in
working
there,
well.
and we coordinate with the mayor's office to have regular meetings, ... And then we just really come together to talk about the amount, the funding.
I think the way.
If we're all in agreement, I just don't want
Yeah.
Mr.
No, I-
Moore
we don't wanna
something
work-
or wasting
work
Mr.
smarter,
Gaskell's
right. I think we're all
time
saying
and
the same thing.
Our
Yeah.
time and funds from Mr. Moore.
But
The only thing I
now,
would question though is the timing of the contracting, a little bit the contract itself, because you're saying 3, possibly 5. I'm thinking of, not saying turnaround, but I'm thinking of the people that sit on the seat in the council. I'd like for that to be something that not just exists when this body flips, but something that those new people have a chance to, if not just look at, but have play a part in. So, yes, I would
Yeah, if it
like
past
to.
3 makes me kind of queasy, because you've
Yeah.
got a rapidly evolving,
Yes.
just developing
Town
situation
itself,
around
exactly.
here.
I would say 2 years.
Yeah, sensible staggered terms.
but now, when we're talking about this, when I think about it, I think about the nuts and bolts of the agreement would last the duration. The funding would not. The funding would be something we would both have to mutually agree upon. Your stuff changes, our stuff changes. And we can't commit funding more than 1 fiscal year.
That's right.
So we need to make sure the language is okay and reviewed maybe every 2 years.
It can be 2 separate.
I agree. I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
It
so
will
that
be
we're
2
all
separate.
on the same page.
The recitals, I went back and looked, took it to Florida with me. And I looked at the recitals, and we've only made a few changes. The recitals are things of, just to give you some examples, our fiscal year. We're not gonna change our fiscal year, no matter what happens.
Right.
You're not gonna
And
change.
you're not
your
going to change, you've
fiscal
been
year.
around for 125 years.
You know, all those recitals, we very seldom have had to edit,
Right.
right, Mr. Gaskell?
I don't
on the
think we have
recitals.
at
At all, basically. So if we just do the recitals, and what Mr. Moore has suggested from my notes, is it is basically be it'll automatically renew every year unless by January 15th or January 1. So this would take care of, I think, Councilmember Nichols'
Mhm.
concern. If you changed, you change in October, right?
Yeah,
So if you had a new council person come on in October, they had 2 or 3 months to look at it.
right.
By January X date, that's when you gotta put
You
each
could also
person
do
on
a
notice.
5-year and put a clause in there that says,
Yeah.
can be reviewed upon request by either party.
Yeah.
And that
Well,
way. it's-
Joe likes to put dates, he's hard on dates, so you put,
Right.
you redo every
Is
year.
is he gonna set this up?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah,
And I would not use can, I would use shall,
yeah.
so that
Mhm.
neither of us can avoid the other.
Right.
I'm big on that.
Oh, yeah.
So have we simplified the process if we've added another document to it? That's
Yeah, I
all.
think
Well,
so.
we've simplified so that you don't have to look through, we don't have to have Mr.
Yeah.
Moore,
Okay.
you don't have to have Mr.
About
Gaskell
one.
look through a 2 or 3 page document
Every
for
year.
each corporation every year.
Okay,
Basically, if you get a new council person, they look at it, I got a few questions, maybe the questions just get answered.
Mhm.
If they have a thing, like somebody just said, by whatever date is
Right.
picked, then you put the other person on notice, we need to have a meeting. Other than that, you
So
don't
that
have a
actually-
meeting about that. All that's
But,
behind you.
but what is under discussion is the numbers.
But then, the second thing, that would be in every year. That
Right.
has to be a budget
Yes.
discussion
There's so
every
much
year.
that changes.
that's the MOU.
No, the MOU is the.
Yes,
It's the recitals.
Recitals.
And then you have the contract, because that's monetary.
Yep.
So that says you're gonna pay and we're gonna provide.
So this 1 year, we'll have some additional.
Paperwork.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we wanna get it to you earlier, because we don't, that way you can get this approved, whatever your schedule for, so we're not June the 28th
Yeah.
Yes.
doing
And
that.
you all are
That's what we're
participating,
trying to not.
So,
but you all are participating in the general fund budget work session.
budget, but this will be separate from the budget.
So, yeah, I'm talking about
So
that.
again, Joe's gonna send this to
Yep,
me.
yep.
Okay.
If that's what we agree on tonight,
All right.
he's waiting for my call.
And the added bonus, after this initial transition with a little bit extra paperwork this year, we will fall into the cycle of the 2 years because this is a town election year.
Yeah,
And we agreed upon the fact that it's available for review. I think that there should be, I'm with Mr. Moore on this.
I think he's gonna put it every year.
Well,
every-
but January.
January.
I think January is fitting. It's kind of the top of the year.
I think
We're
that
already
was
getting-
from last time when he
in the
talked to
budget.
me on the phone about it a year ago.
Why not by January 3rd?
So the MOU is basically boilerplate stuff.
It's all the recitals. It says fiscal year, state, our reporting is in December, our financials are in September after we file with the IRS.
Agree to perform.
So really, every
Performance.
paragraph in the contract that doesn't deal with money.
So all but 2 paragraphs.
Right.
But now, for clarity, I like that you guys are coming twice to the mayor and council public meetings. I think that's
Oh,
good for the
stays
public.
same.
And I think that we like the fact that September's a long month, March is a long month, the 5th one is when we meet. Because it works for you all, it works for us.
Yep.
We good with that?
Months are fine.
Okay. And I will say that we had some, I think you all had some scheduling stuff, and then we had some scheduling stuff that we worked through together, and it worked well.
And we
I think
got it
worked well.
documented in there, we both filed the rules.
All right. Go ahead.
Nothing really to report on the operating funding other than, you guys did your presentation in the county. We don't do ours till the fire association does theirs on April 14th, I believe. So we won't, and we'll be ready for the town budget next week. But as far as the operating funding, don't see any big things at the fire company. The next one is the capital. That's the one we really got to work on, which we kind of hashed out a few minutes ago with impact fees. Not this, as she said, not letting the horse out of the barn or whatever he said. You know, we got to get on top of that capital because we've got this loan that we're paying
Two loans.
till 2038. And this loan will carry us to 2038. And the next truck, that'll make the next truck 40 years old. And so we've got to find a way to pay down on that. And the way we're using every bit of the county out of town run money. That's where it's going. To pay that loan every year, every payment in August. So that's where we're on finding that.
What was that total?
So, the rescue truck, 1.4 million and $1 million for the rescue, so 2.4 million. There's a few hours less than that.
How is the new equipment working out?
I'll let you talk about that.
The rescue's in mounting right now at the specialist, so can't answer it. We don't have it. We haven't stress tested it. The new engine, it's going through new engine hiccups. So it's going back for warranty work a lot, more than we would care for, but not to the point where we're alarmed. And it's a right-sized vehicle, especially the engine. Down in size, down in just everything. So we're assuming the wear, the tear, the cost, and it's not as, like, do you remember 604 is loaded to the gills? This is, the new pumper is not loaded. It's meant to put out a fire, case closed. So we went pretty bare bones on that. The rescue's obviously a right-sized vehicle because we don't know if we can get people to get two pieces out. So when you look at it, you go, that thing is enormous. It's doing the jobs of two vehicles now because personnel are so short and few and far between that we need to take the whole thing, including the kitchen sink. Whereas before we could split it up and take it on two pieces, maybe three, maybe four. During the day, you don't have that kind of staffing now. We don't have the people. There's chances we will, but we need to plan for the worst and hope for the best. So the plan is bring everything on the first outing that way. Whatever tools are needed, they're there. So when you see it again, you're like, good Lord. But it's what's needed to produce the amount of equipment hitting the street from multiple things, bringing it down to two, maybe one thing.
Now, Now, with us talking about capital, based off of what you said, David, with the out-of-town run funds kind of covering the debt service, is the goal here to get some assistance with covering some capital equipment? And if so, can you get us, I know you all have some capital equipment lists, but I think when we articulate the message, I mean, our revenue's not vast, right? We don't have a whole lot of it. But if we're going to articulate the message of, hey, look, we're helping with the battery operated tools, you know what I mean? Like, or if we're helping with new airbags for the rescue truck.
Like a more itemized, my money bought this
Yeah,
thing.
but I think it's easier for us to articulate that to the taxpayer than we just cut a check for this and it went there, you know what I mean? Like, so if you give us a list and you say, this is kind of ranked in priority, this is what we need, and then if you have extra, we'd like to hit this, that is much easier for us to get across the finish line. You all agree?
And we provide that to you in December, so you should already have that list.
I'm saying, like, as we approach the budget,
Right. Well, we'll
dust it
put that
off
list out again.
and prioritize
Yeah.
it, so that you have it, you say, hey, look, Mayor and Council, this is what we really need,
Okay.
and this is why. So,
For the ice cream, I'll ask, is it equipment or is it the financing?
That's right.
Helping with the debt?
Well, the capital budget is both apparatus and equipment.
Yes.
So that's what we provide to you. So like the list, so what we gave to you in December, you have that list. And it's by date. So the priority is already on there by the rope is 15 years. It's whatever the operational officers or a code, like NFPA has already told us. So if you look at that list, it will give you the service dates of when that
Right.
stuff is due.
Was the debt service on that? I just don't recall.
The apparatus is on there.
Okay, so
Yep,
that's how
it's on
I
there.
see. Okay.
Yep, that's on the apparatus page.
Okay.
Is there any new grant opportunities you discovered?
We will continue to apply for the AFG grants. We won't be able to apply for any grants, of course, for what's already been purchased for the 2 trucks, so we're under that debt service. But yes, as things come up, we look at that list and apply for the grants as they're eligible. So I'm just gonna make up something. If the rope is due again in 2030, in 2029, those officers will start looking, okay, what grants are out there for rope? Because that's what's due in to be replaced in 2030. So just like our air packs, we know, we don't want to get in the situation we got with our air packs now. And that's again, this capital funding, it's not about always purchasing something. It's getting it into that account so you have those funds when it's time to purchase. So just like you guys do with impact fees, you put the money away, then you need it, you grant it. We've got to do the same thing with our capital funding. We've got to start budgeting every year. Okay, we need 15 grand, or we need whatever.
but on our side, it's easier if you say, we need this, and we
Yep.
buy it,
Yep.
rather than we need to put it in an account to buy it later. That's harder for us to articulate. Now, also, like, did you all submit anything for like the congressionally directed spending requests? I know like Van Hollen and Cardin, or well, not Cardin, but also Brooks' office, Old Habits, right? They will advance certain things, whether it's fire trucks, whether it's whatever you need, if it's the dollar value kind of hits a threshold.
So we've talked to them about the stuff for next year, because
Okay.
again.
Because we ping you for letters of support. We
Just like-
can,
like they
we can do
said.
the other side. We can write letters
So
of
we
support.
do for what's
Yeah.
coming.
Right.
We couldn't this year because we didn't really have anything like ready to go. Because you don't want to make stuff up. You don't want to replace rope that we just replaced last year. So yes, we're aware. We talked to the guys in Salisbury Council, his wife.
Josh,
Alicia.
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
They just had their baby.
Yeah, just had a
with-
baby, yep.
With
So we
Van
talk
Hollen's
with-
office.
I talk with Alyssa quite regularly. Not-
I was also going to make another recommendation, that you take a hard look at your marketing piece that you send out to the residents, asking for money. You say the donations were down this year. I think you could really enhance that or redo it.
It's a little archaic.
It's
I
very
like
archaic. It really needs to be redone.
I saw Pittsville in town with actually a nice, like, during one of the street fairs or something. They had a nice marketing setup.
Yeah.
I was-
We always say you all can
I
do
was
it.
like, ah.
I was like, man, I walked by and I was like, I'd like it to say Berlin, but maybe it'll motivate them.
Maybe it will. I was impressed by that, and we're not ignorant to the fact that it needs a little
I
sprucing
mean,
up.
see, Sarah Hambury, she's very good at that, could help you out. She's, a good graphic artist, she could lay it out for you. But I would really stress the capital needs, you know, the individual items, even though you may not need them that specific year.
Well, and we've got small vehicles coming up.
Yeah.
They're all gonna be knocking at the 20-year mark.
Like
Next-
the man buggy?
That's already at the 20-year mark. But, and we can stretch certain things, but after a point, you know, you can't even buy the parts for stuff after a certain point. And if you do buy a part, it's on Temu, and you're gonna be broke down on the side of the road within a week. So.
You get a whole fire truck and keep it.
But you need more pictures too.
That, it needs to look a little more exciting.
And if you have anything while you're at it, if you get somebody that's designing some stuff, if you get something, talk to Kate what the specs are for like the public access channel that we have, like stuff like that.
I was impressed with what Pittsfield did in our backyard. So.
So I was gonna ask, do you all have a tent and tables, and it's probably just a factor of getting the people to do something, if you had a booth at the farmer's market per se?
You'd have to get the material, you have to get the, I mean, we have to have that made, whatever their display is,
So you don't
which is
have-
not some Herculean effort. It's more the people,
That's
honestly.
what I was- yeah.
And that's our reason.
Hopefully nobody from Pittsfield's watching me
You want
say
to know what
this,
you
but
do? You take your career crew that might not be running a call and put them up there checking some blood pressures for a little bit. It's good community service. They should, I mean, you might get a little resistance, but it's good for it.
the problem is breaking them out in that call.
If you need like placement of like, I mean, you might not be able to rely on them fully for the setup, but like if you, I'll probably get blasted for saying this on the, with my, but it's good for them for the public relations side. And if you need placement so that the vehicle can still get out, we can talk about that. But
That would be
they can
step,
check
that would be
blood
step one,
pressure,
but
they can use that monitor to
getting
help
us up
out.
there, having, you know, me up there, it's hard to find time to do a lot of things, but I think I need to make a little time for that. So if we get the material, I'm sure we can do, it wouldn't be on a weekly basis.
No,
But once in
you
a
want to tell
while,
us when you want to come and we'll help make it
yeah,
happen.
I was pretty impressed by what I saw.
Good PR.
It really was. And we run a good bit more
Yeah.
than they did. No offense, Pittsfield.
And you support the community that we're in. Like,
Yeah.
you should be there, not anybody else.
Right.
So,
And it would be better if you could be there with a partner like Out of Health, if you is looking for a foothold in this community and to partner with the fire department on an event like this. That would serve you both very
I tell
well.
you, instead, because they want money too. We want them to get the money. No, I have nothing against that. But now, listen, like to Dean's point, partnerships. What about with the schools? Like, get some of the kids that are in the vocational training side that can help.
Everybody's neck deep in that, but generating interest is tough.
How are they doing down there?
They could be doing considerably better.
Okay.
And not from the quality of work being put
Personnel,
in.
yeah.
It's from
Interest.
just stone lack of interest. And that's a tough program. They had to recalibrate the program to do, EMT was wiping out whole swaths. Yes, it was. So they tried to recalibrate and make it, and then you get a group of kids who gets mowed down by EMT, and then word of mouth gets out. That was a spectacular waste of everyone's time. I think you and I had a laugh about Gen Z. I don't speak it, but in a lot of hard work, ain't in many of their cards. So-
Well, I don't want to put the cart before the horse here, but would it be possible, since we're in March and we're coming up on our event season, maybe, I guess, work with us and see if there maybe, Rome wasn't built in a day. I mean, we're not talking.
A target would be fall, because I've got to spool up a new heavy rescue with a bunch of new equipment.
Okay,
So
You gotta
October.
prioritize.
a realistic timeline would be the fall.
Okay, so there's like Oktoberfest going on, that's,
That would be a realistic target date. Before then, we have to dedicate, we have something new.
yeah.
that's
I think
gonna
that just
monopolize
to
a lot
Mayor,
of time.
to Mayor Zach's point, I think that would be great, and we saw another organization there, rehashing kind of what you already said, but I would like to see that, you guys there, and I'm willing to help to make that happen.
Yeah, I took a little ribbing on that.
So, but anyway, yeah, blood pressures and stuff would be great.
Everybody
And
likes
also,
blood pressure.
I mean, I think I can say it now, reach out to the health department, because they might be able to help you.
Oh, yeah, they don't want anybody's money. That might be, sorry.
I'm just
Sorry,
cutting
not
it out.
sorry.
All right, I think we kind of segued to recruitment, but I mean, we still remain, like, if you're approaching the county on real estate tax, we are in support of that.
Yeah,
We can't do away with the whole tax, but.
Jay
we
is, Jay Jester is spearheading that
Okay.
as the Chiefs Committee Chairman. Each department is coming up with their data to give to him to take to the county insofar as active members, where they live and what their approximate tax bill is.
Okay.
He's aware that this town has formally said we will support whatever you guys are trying to do in that vein. So the Chiefs Committee is very.
Just keep us up to speed.
Yep. It's a meaningful,
That's perfect.
it is, and there's a lot of counties that are doing it.
Every little bit helps. so.
What's an Ocean City just passed?
So it's not only the county, we need the towns to do it too, because as you recall last time that we were.
We're willing to help, but we just don't do our own tax billing.
So I checked into that, that has no impact on this. So it doesn't have anything to do with billing.
Did you ask the county if
I
they
did.
process our bill?
So you don't change the bill, it's a refund. So we provide you the names of, so I can tell you tonight, so there's 28 members that live in town. Of the 28, there's only 18 that are eligible, meaning they've met their points or they own their home. So their name has to be on the deed. So I researched everybody's property tax record. So you would have 18 people that you could give a $1,000 credit to. They pay their bill just like normal. You get the list from us. We actually would give you, we don't come up with a new form. It's the same as the county. We don't come up with a new form. We give you the state of Maryland income tax subtraction that the two people have to sign to certify it. Then you know who those people are. They've got their 50 points, has their address on it. You would give them then a $1,000 check back after they pay their property tax, or make sure they pay their taxes first. And then you would give that back.
Percentage or a flat fee.
Or you could do percentages or whatever. You could do it however you want to come up with a number. Wyckoff is like a 2,500 flat fee.
Most people are sticking on a flat fee.
Flat fee, it makes the math a lot better.
It's easier for our finance department to
And
do.
currently you said there are 18.
18, so 18 people to be eligible this year.
What was the reason the others weren't? Why weren't the other?
They may rent.
10?
Because they don't own
they
their
rent,
home. They
okay.
would rent, or the home
home's
is
not
not,
in their name.
the home is not in their name.
Gotcha.
They put it in a trust.
I like
or their
that.
parents or whatever.
Because if you get into the tax bill, that's when it becomes a problem for us.
So,
But I
when you-
like the straight
When you
idea.
brought that up, the next morning I was on the phone to 3 or 4 different counties, and they said, "Oh no, you don't mess with the tax bill." You don't
I'm
mess with the
agreeable to that. You all
Yeah.
in consensus?
So
100%.
even though the county might do that, what's the benefit to the town? The benefit to the town is now, and I'll use myself for example, I moved out of town because of the cost, the taxes, the water, sewer. Of course, I'm an analytical person. I'm right down to how much the well costs, depreciate, how much the septic costs. But this could bring people in town to live in town, young people, knowing they would get something off their taxes. Because where does that help us? Response time. I'm 4 miles out of town. At night, I can get here relatively quickly without endangering myself or someone else. During the day, I can't get across Route 50 during the day.
Not to mention summer season.
Summer.
The other thing
Yeah, I wrote first
So-
responder,
so-
because I think it's wise to group that. Now, with
If you leave
that,
them out, they're going to.
well, hold on,
Yes,
so,
please.
so I said, in my notes, I put first responder, because I think whatever we do, there's value add to having it on the law enforcement side as well. Now, with that too, if you have, like maybe some career folks that live in town, would be willing to explore that as well.
Career for Berlin.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, not just blanket for everybody.
Understood.
Yep, but.
I think everybody understands that if you serve the town you live in, as opposed to,
And we may put some language in there that like requires for PD, like 1 year of employment before you get it. Same thing with you all,
Sure.
like 1 year.
I don't think that's.
So they would get a double savings, one from us, one from the county?
That would be the theory, yes.
Yeah.
And that may be enough to get somebody, especially in town, let's say you got a younger person or whatever, they're kind of on the fence, dangle that carrot. And if they're on the fence, that may be just enough headwind.
Hey, I mean, it wasn't always
That's where
a
I'm
big
looking at.
savings,
That's
but
why
I
I
always
said
like
get 'em in
getting
town.
that savings. So,
Do you know what the ask would be to the county?
What's Queen Anne's doing, 25?
I think we were gonna leave the ask open
Okay,
to the commissioners. We're just trying to give them, like we did to you all, the number, but
yeah.
most are doing 2,500.
And
If you're-
honestly, as their tax bills are going up, they're scaling up.
Yeah.
Maybe only 500 to like 3,000, but they're,
Property value's going up, so, yeah.
That
We
would
might
be a
start
nice
at like,
little return.
my thought is we start at like 1,000 and then see how it goes, and then we can always work up. It's much easier to work up than it is down.
Yeah, you don't want
So-
to.
and you have to have an
Yeah, you don't wanna go
active, so
down.
it's not like somebody can leech off.
You do
One active year.
2,500.
No, you need to remain active to get the benefit.
Most people's tax bill isn't $5,000.
I think we start at 1,000 and we can always move from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, $1,000 is probably a good start for a town.
Jack, you have a question?
So
I
this
just,
budget
can you
year,
explain the process?
I like it.
I like it.
So you got 18,
I like
18
it,
people.
but I just, how does the process work again? So the tax credit, the refund, whatever we call it, comes from the town
Town.
coffers?
So they get their tax bill, they pay their tax bill,
Goes up.
they apply for credit in the town to get a refund check.
I think that what you would do too, like, is that you would enact this policy, you would budget for it for FY '27. You would make it effective January, because people get their tax bills, you make sure it's paid. By January, you cut your check. When do you provide you have to provide the tax documents in January
I can
anyway,
give it to you
right?
now.
But no, I'm saying like.
Yeah,
you run
for
report
LoSAP,
in
Well, it's
January.
always a year behind, so you would base this on, so I could give you those 18 documents tomorrow if you want them. I'm gonna block out your social security number.
If you're driving at the
We
LoSAP
can't
benefit,
go
the prior
back.
year is given
No.
in January.
Yeah.
You would go back. It would always be the previous year, because just like it does with the county.
Well, my
Your
bill
tax
comes
bill-
out in July, right?
Right. So it would be the people who served the community for 2025,
The previous year.
the previous year.
Yeah.
It's all, so like I said, I could give you these 18 tomorrow, these 18
Because they're
names and
20.
addresses tomorrow
Gotcha,
for
okay.
your current.
But to my point,
And then you wouldn't mail the check, like the mayor said, your financial procedures, we're not gonna get into that. You
But they
do
get
it
the
with
refund,
community
that's-
but no, but hear me out here. You generate the report for tax time,
first.
and that
January
is
1.
done in January.
January 1.
So we would ask that when you generate the report in January, we would say, okay, please share that with us.
Oh, we would.
And then we would send the checks accordingly. So like if we adopt this policy and budget, we would probably budget like 20-something thousand for it, so that we're able to hit. If you have a growth in membership or a decline, we'll figure that side out. But
No.
if you had 28 that were eligible, what?
You gotta do it the year before, because you're gonna end up with a mess there. You gotta do it the year before. Because, so in January, we would give it to you and you would have your numbers. So you don't need to
Yeah.
estimate anything. It's 18 people.
But we have to account for the funding somehow.
Right, but I'm saying, that way you're not messing your budget up. Don't inflate it. It's 18 people for this year.
Okay.
It's 18 people.
So in January, when we cut a check, it would be 18 people.
18 people. And I'll double check
All
their
right.
number.
But they'd have to submit their bills and.
That's nice to know, like if you could,
Yeah.
so from, this is new to us
Yep.
as far as that goes, but if you could present in your budget
Yep.
that, hey, look, this upcoming January, you're looking at about this or this many.
If you
people that qualify.
bring in new members
Right.
who need to go through a full
The
year.
new members don't count because they're not
members
eligible.
don't count.
Most of them. Members don't count.
Well,
So, I get it.
3
Not
years
until
before
one
you
year.
get the
They have to do a full year.
Well, we're not talking about LoSAP, we're talking about property tax bill.
But they're going to qualify by the income tax subtraction, so we don't create new rules.
60 points.
50 points and 3 years of service, so they won't get it in year one.
But year two,
Year
will
three,
be
they'll get it.
the LoSAP.
Yeah,
What about the county tax benefit?
that's the same thing. Most of them all do it by the
Oh.
It
qualification.
takes 3 years.
So then by.
Yeah.
by
What about
house, you're
shortening
doing
that?
3 years?
Can we
The
shorten
state,
that?
well, you can shorten it, but then you're going to come up with a new form.
Because the point is that our goal is to try and boost membership. If you
Right.
say, all right, we're gonna do this, I mean,
You
no
have to wait
offense,
3 years.
Yeah.
but of the 18, how many have more than 10 years of service?
Well, I don't know.
Come on, David, you know the names on the list.
No,
I
don't.
can tell you half the names on the list.
No, I don't.
Come on, man. I got the darn calendar. I can tell you the names, and most of them are more than 10 years of service.
So you can
Hey,
do whatever you want.
Calendar?
We
They have a calendar.
We are trying to,
Trust me, it's on my son's desk.
we're trying to not create more paperwork, so if you follow the state law, we don't have
I
to come
hear
up
that,
with
but it's
more
not gonna hit our goal, which is recruitment and retention today. So if we can find a way to understanding like what you're doing, not discounting that, but if we can find a way to help people sign on the dotted line and join, what I'm looking for is a year of service.
Okay.
I don't know about you all, but if the goal is recruitment and retention, you say it takes 3 years,
Well, that would be
I don't think it's
wonderful.
gonna happen.
That would be wonderful. If you can do it, we'll take it. Am I gonna turn it down?
Am I wrong?
I'm not gonna turn it
I don't
down.
think you're setting a precedent by doing that. I mean, so is that not happening elsewhere?
It's your rule.
No, I'm just curious from your
No,
perspective.
there are
What's
tax rebates, property tax rebates coming from multiple other jurisdictions to homeowners.
And-
You guys aren't reinventing the wheel.
Right,
Yeah.
that's all.
You're getting into something good. As far as it being a 3-year benefit, none of them I know of are tied to LoSAP awards. They're all tied to property tax owners or owners of a property. So you would need 1 year of service to prove you've earned the benefit.
All the ones I called, they use the income tax subtraction form, so if they're using that form, and we're getting into the weeds here.
Yeah, I think we can work on
We're getting
it.
into
Yeah,
the weeds.
if that's just a
Well,
LoSAP
I think
form, we
from,
whip that
but I
out.
think
That's
from a
a
macro
different-
perspective, it's important to have an idea.
So we'll investigate that, but the ones I talked to said they use the same form we sent to the county, just like the mayor said. In January, we send all those LoSAP forms down of the qualified people, and they get that contribution to their,
Can you see what LoSAP is?
so length of service award program.
But you, if we asked you, like, it would not be difficult for you to generate a report in January that says, this amount of people had 50 points.
On the report at the bottom, we wouldn't generate something new, we'd give you that report, and you could look down at the bottom, and if you want to choose the one that just says 1 year, you can choose that.
Okay.
Yep.
But that's not going to be a lot of reporting on
Same
your all's
report.
end.
Nope, same report.
I would
As long as we use that-
advocate for a year.
As long as
Does
we use that
everyone
form,
know what LoSAP is?
But he just told us.
and we'll.
I did not know what it was, honestly.
I didn't know what it was.
So after 3 years in the Maryland Fire Service, and career people are eligible now for it, aren't
So you're talking, the state of Maryland, you're talking, so we have two things. So we have income tax subtraction, that is state of Maryland.
they? Right.
So that is, we fill out a form, and after 3 years of service, getting 50 points each year, we get $7,000 income tax credit. So people, and I hear elected officials, not you all the time, misquote this. We do not get $7,000 off our taxes.
No.
So the example I give is a household makes $50,000. Now you take 7 off that, you pay taxes on $43,000.
You're just reducing your income
Your
tax
income
burden.
tax.
That's all you're doing,
Your
you're just
tax.
jumping down
So-
a bracket.
So that's the state of Maryland, that's on your state taxes, 3 years and 50 points all the way up, and you gotta get 50 points each year. We have a form that has to go with the person's taxes, and then the county association sends the forms to the comptroller's office to make sure that I'm not taking $7,000 off my taxes, and I only had 30 points.
Right.
So then you get into LoSAP, length of service award, that is county-based.
Okay.
So that is county, and that varies from Allegheny to Worcester. That's a game of all sorts of, throw the marbles up in the air.
That's like an earned benefit. You got to make it so it's something they can understand. It's an earned benefit based on service.
A defined benefit that each,
Right.
for this county, we have just the county, right? Does Ocean City have its own?
Ocean City has its own, so those people will get both. So currently, what we're in the process of have implemented is after 3 years of service, the person will get a $1,500 check. And then at every 5-year interval, they would get a $2,500 check. So a member doesn't get anything year 1, year 2. The thought process, you want to get them in, you want to keep them. You're spending money on gear, they quit on year 2.
Yeah.
You don't want to be giving them anything. You want to get them to year 3. Then you're trying to push them over the hump. So year 3, they'll get a $1,500 check. Year 5, they'll get a $2,500. Year 10, they'll get a $2,500. 15 years, so they'll get a $2,500 check. In the past, it was a retirement investment fund that did not work. The county just didn't work. The investments weren't proven outright. So a couple years ago, they finally just paid everybody out 10 grand, and they're in the process of closing that out. They got a few people now still getting some monthly checks, and they'll close that out, and they'll switch to this. This is what they got to adopt a resolution this year. We're reminding them of that they talked to us about 3 years ago. Get that adopted this year, so we can pay out those 3-year people that joined 3 years ago, that we told at the board meeting, in 3 years you'll get $1,500. So we keep them. That keep pushes, every 5 years that'll push you over the hump. You get a $2,500 check. About time you're thinking, oh, this is crazy. I'm not coming up here at 2 in the morning. I'm not gonna do this.
It sets the hook and keeps them coming in, especially people that go into the career fire service. and knowing their career, which we have town residents in town who've gone that route, and it's cumbersome, so they stop volunteering. If you keep the hook set, they keep volunteering.
Speaking of that, have you all made any movement on associate membership? I know to Andy's point, you catch your folks that are career that are just like, I don't want the admin side, I just want to run the calls. No.
It's a dead horse for now.
Well,
All right.
okay, I don't want to be.
But I do want to, so we don't sound like we slammed the
No,
door.
no.
So if they live in the area and they belong to another fire company in Worcester County, they're covered under workers' comp.
Right.
So they can certainly come. We have members on Cedar Avenue that are a member of Ocean City.
Okay.
He can come participate in our calls
This is good.
because he's covered under Worcester County.
But you don't want to unlock any of the folks that are like, let's say Andy just worked across the bridge,
Yeah.
but didn't
We
volunteer.
don't want to lock that door, but I didn't want to make it sound like we.
No, I'm just saying, like, do you have a basket of people, or is it kind of like, we're not really exploring it because we don't have that basket of people? That are
To
like.
that extent, I don't know, but I know that's not something we're entertaining for right now.
That's understandable. I mean,
So just real quick back, and then we can, are we looking at, are we on this side of the table? Are we thinking about the 1 year tax or the 3 year?
I would do 1 year.
I would do 3.
Okay, so my question.
All right.
I
Might not have the votes.
don't think I understand where you're going with that.
What Dave just said.
So how about if I do this, so this is a work session, they can't.
Yeah.
How about if I just give you the numbers for 1 year, 2 year, and 3 year? Then you all can
Well,
talk
I was going
about
to shoot another thing.
Yeah, then you know what numbers you're talking about. Did that add one person to it? Did it add 5 people to it?
Well, I was trying to think of like a hook for the first 2 years, but okay.
Yeah, let's give it to you, because 1 year.
What's up to have it now?
Yeah.
But just like Dave said, if you change to 1 year, do you really have a hook?
Well, the one thing is like, we're not front funding a year, we're back funding a year. So if you volunteered for a year, we're gonna recognize it and say thank you, and hope that you continue again for next year. It's
Yeah,
not like
it wouldn't
we're
be,
doing
you don't
forward.
join and then we say, you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
You need to give
We're
us,
earning.
you need to give your community 1 year.
Yeah.
And then we'll
I
talk about the
understand that,
benefits.
but I prefer 3.
Understand. Where's the mindset? One.
One.
I'll move one.
One.
If it's at the tail end, I'm going for this one.
I'm good for
Give me the
one.
numbers.
No, we're excited.
Hey, one's.
Right, that's a good way to look at it. That's
Why
not
can't we
what
do
we're all.
something like an
Yeah, I
investment
don't like that.
in that person for the first 2 years, and then they get
Well,
their third
so
year,
I
they
could
get something.
explain your,
Well, for the first 2 years, like I know it's gonna be a little bit more on the funding side, and this is just an idea. If we did 3, the hook, which I hate that term, but the hook for the first 2 years is your third year, you get something else that we have set aside for them.
I think it complicates things.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
You keep it straight, you keep it easy.
Yeah, if I had to wait 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't wanna wait 3 years, but.
I mean, that's what we find now, right? It's like the step and grade system we built, it's good, it's a ladder, but it gives you inputs every year. You all have had success with that. You get input every year versus saying, all right, wait until year 5 and then we're going to give you something. So you want to just, I mean,
I'm good with
we talked
that.
about
I was
what,
just
Gen
looking
Z?
Yeah, I got 3 of them in my
Keep
house. We don't,
I'm good with one, I was just
we're like the
trying to.
cats. They come down and eat and go to the bathroom, then they disappear.
All right, let's move on to EMS. I think impact fees from our end stays the same. We request the same, any information you can. Contract MOU, I think, is the same. So get the funding.
So just want to know, I didn't spend any time because that takes a lot of time for me to do all that. And is there appetite for me to continue doing those rough numbers? Or are we going to just continue to submit just our budget need? Or do you want me to go keep doing this? Because this is 8 to 10 hours of work that I have to do. And I present that and it goes nowhere. So you just need to know the appetite. Don't mind doing it. I'm not complaining.
I
just.
I'm not sure what numbers you're.
He's talking about like going through like and
So like
inputting what a funding.
last 2 years, I've given you numbers of what, if we paid the in and out of town, the per person, the per mile. Don't mind doing it. I'm not trying to slate any work. I can do it. But if it's not the appetite or the desire. or
I think it's a
potential-
goal, right? I think we would love to get to a point where we could put an input in get an output.
I think it's
But I think
wonderful.
the challenge becomes that we don't really have, now where this makes sense, right, is like MML, we just supported through resolution, like the support of looking at additional revenues for municipalities. I think if we can get to a point where we're getting more revenue in, then it could be beneficial.
Okay.
But right now, I would fear, and I think Steve's brought this up previously, we wouldn't be like the county. We couldn't go up and then not come down. We would ultimately have to come back down if we use the funding formula. Whereas if we can continue with, these are our priorities, this is what we need help achieving, I think it is more capable of moving us forward.
Sounds
I
good.
agree.
Okay, sounds good.
Guess
Yeah.
Don't mind doing it
I
either
don't
way.
think we have the appetite to raise the tax rate by 4 cents, 8 cents, whatever.
No, but if we can get things covered the way that they should be
Yeah.
covered, which the state's starting to understand that a little bit, that would be beneficial because then we would have some cash flow that we could assist with things like that. But right now, we don't have that lever to pull.
Easy enough, easy peasy. And then just the same thing on the EMS Capital Fund, we sent you back in December, and, you know, we want to be very open with this. We don't want to scare our employees, we're not trying to scare the community, but the next ambulance cycle is not financially obtainable in the current model. So we've got the spreadsheet of how we get the money, how we get our capital funding and our loan payment on this one and then borrowing. But, you know, when you get to 2035, 37, 39, it's not, yeah. We didn't want any surprises. We said 10 years notice. I mean, I think that's plenty of notice.
Is this the first time you've had to finance vehicles?
Finance vehicles, ambulances, and fire trucks. Yes.
Through Kindle.
Yep.
Yeah, save till you have enough to buy it.
Yep.
Go buy it, was the existing model.
The cost of the equipment is not sustainable.
Well, and not getting money into the capital.
Yeah, not getting money in the capital fund, that's, yeah. So just, you know, the answers to it, you know, try to always come with solutions, answers to these impact fees, and, you know, whatever you all can look in your budget, whether that's it's more of the local development council slots money, or money that's now not needs to be used for maybe police because the tickets are coming in to pay for the police cars, maybe that, because that's still in public safety, would still be in your public safety budget, you're just, okay, we're not gonna buy police cars, but we'll allocate X to ambulances. Just a thought. Just trying to, I was trying to come with solutions and not
I'm glad
throw
you brought it
headaches
up.
out here.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought it up because I just wanted to throw it out here to the group if there was appetite. I know we have our budget meetings coming up with department heads and whatnot, but the LDC funds, I think, so correct me because I was in error earlier in this meeting. The LDC funds, there's 15,000 a year for 3 years was the arrangement, and that was for EMS Capital.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I don't need an answer, it's a work session, but for our side, I would be willing to talk about increasing that in the current LDC, because we're coming up at the end of our plan with the LDC now. So, since you brought that up, I would be interested in us talking about that internally as a possibility.
So that 3-year commitment ends this current budget that we're in? Are we right on? Does anybody know that?
I
This
think
is
it's
3 of 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we're coming up on a new LDC plan and our budget
Right.
anyway, so.
I think it's a good use of LDC funds to help the capital.
That's not something that we would be prohibited from, right? I remember the whole, the public safety is included,
Right.
without question. Okay, good.
Yeah, I know Arundel Mills buys lots of fire trucks and ambulances.
I
They
will-
don't necessarily buy people.
I will say to the group, be cautious because you've committed those funds.
Well, yeah, the downside of that is if
So we should
something
talk that
happens
through. I think it's worth exploring, but we
Yeah,
should talk it through with
absolutely.
our finance directors.
Absolutely, because if something happens to the casino, then obviously that's a funding source that is going to cut off. So,
We have a signed agreement with the LDC now.
excuse me.
I didn't say that. I said you all have agreed to commit those funds and approach the LDC with a plan. We have done that. So the thing is that if there's an appetite to tailor that differently, not with a new 3-year plan, but with a plan that can get across the finish line. If there's an appetite to change that, we should have a conversation with the finance director who can speak a little bit better on that.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but with my understanding, there's a bill in the works to bring online gaming to Maryland,
correct.
and that wouldn't be part of the LDC funding. Be a good opportunity to petition the state, if it comes to fruition, to petition the state for a cut of that fund. Because you're not getting part of the LDC.
If you do that, let us know, we will write letters of support
Yeah.
for that.
If it happens.
Yeah. It was a bill that didn't make it through last year, I've not really followed it super closely this year.
It's getting closer, it may.
It takes usually a couple
I'm not
years.
familiar
for-
with that. It's an online gambling?
So we have certain casinos in Maryland, of course,
Right.
regulated to give the communities funding.
Right, I understand
But
that
online
LDC
gaming,
concept.
that wouldn't be part of that.
So like a user on their phone would incur a
Correct.
tax of
Yeah.
some sort?
Like,
But
you
usually they
can't
have to
on
be
it
part,
every day.
usually they have to be partnered with the casino.
Okay.
So, now, some of this might get them as a standalone, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I know that they were having.
Yeah, I
some-
understand how the physical casinos work.
Right.
I didn't know there was any, unless your app is hooked to a casino, which can track the revenue
Yeah,
that
check
way.
with Mary Beth or Wayne Hartman, they would know the bill, what's happening with it.
And this is separate from like DraftKings and all that?
Yes.
Online stuff?
But the state would get a cut of the action. right?
Sure.
And then hopefully you guys could.
Do you have a bill number? I can look.
I don't.
That should be pretty easy to run down.
I agree with Jed, if you call Hartman's pretty hot on that.
Yeah.
So I would start there and then figure out where it stands and if it's something you can advocate for. And if you do, if there's a place for us to help in that advocacy, let us know.
Yeah, could be a win for all.
Yeah, everybody can go pick at that money tree, for lack of a better way to put it.
And I think the state would embrace that.
So I'm pulling up what the MSFA is working on, can I get this under somebody's, it is not in the
They drive
monitor.
to Ocean City every
So
day.
MSFA, Maryland State Firemen Association.
Really?
So they got Chief Phillips in Cambridge.
They go right where Hartman and.
I do not see that,
Put their bets in.
that they're monitoring that bill at all. Anything
doing
online
that.
gaming. So I'll call him on my way home or when I get home.
Is that in this legislative session? now?
Yeah.
It's now.
Yeah.
To ask him why.
I would,
Crossover.
So I'll get his feedback. He'll probably be able to tell us why the Firemen Association didn't reach out for that pot of money.
probably because it's not been called out. To Jay's point, when they're slicing the revenue, they don't generally think about you.
They don't, but these people do.
I know, but what I'm saying is that if you take that idea in front of our local folks, you might be able to make some more headway.
So we'll find
It
out.
did? Yeah.
It did die? No.
Well, then that's not a bad
They take a
thing.
crossover.
Because now you have next year to prepare.
Yeah, it's not a bad
Back
thing.
next
This
year.
is
So I'll call
this
Chief
is
Phillips
year
and put it on
three.
his list
It'll
for
keep
next year.
coming until it passes.
This
So
will be year
whoever
three.
sponsored the bill, get it to them, and maybe add that caveat that it benefits first responders.
Still call him tonight?
That might on his list.
Uh-huh.
Across the finish line.
Yeah, but Mike, you're right. Good idea, whoever said it.
I think I said.
Yeah, good job.
Raise your hand.
Jack, can you give the guy, I can use that five.
And you got two asterisks.
You got two
Did you get a bill number for this year? That's
Let's see.
Yeah, if you got it, tell me. But I called Chief Phillips, and that's what their job is, so the MSFA, so throw these acronyms out. So they have a legislative committee, Chief Phillips has been doing it for years, they have a building called 17 State Circle, and they pretty much live there from mid-December to April till it's closed, and that's what they do, monitor bills, they're going right across the street, they're going over lobbying, and they're looking for bills. That's why it might not be on my list, because maybe it's already been taxed. But it's a good point, and that's what their job is. So they go look for money. We were talking to them about the $7,000. They've been lobbying to get that to $10,000 income tax credit for the last 2 or 3 years. One of the things that held it up, just to be honest, with a lot of the bills, is the State Firemen's Association was a big controversy, so it's now changed to the Firefighters Association. So that relieves some of the concerns of some elected officials. So, but that's what they do. So this Maryland State Firemen Association is very, and they, even though they represent mainly volunteer, they do career stuff. There's career bills on there that they look at for all sorts of things like cancer risk for volunteers and.
They'll reimburse paramedic class for careers, as long as you serve in Maryland. And you have to pass, but if you get it, you can submit reimbursement to MSFA and they'll cover like 85%.
Senate 61.
761. Senate bill?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, Chief Phillips, and they're good people. They work their butt off and anything that, like, this is a good idea. You know, get it on his radar, plug that stuff in. Because they even work in the summertime. They don't stay up there like they do now or have that office open, but they're communicating, because all the pre-filed bills. So they're working in the summertime and fall for pre-filed bills.
So that was to have it go before voters for referendum.
Okay.
Just
Is that what it-
if it passed, it was going to go before voters for referendum.
But maybe it gets it over the finish line when you
Yeah.
say fire service.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That
help.
might help.
Mhm.
That's good.
Call it first responders and then they'll say, oh my gosh, I have a cousin who's a first responder. That'd be great.
That's a good idea.
Oh my gosh, my sister's.
All right, anything else for the good of the group? You can tell Billy.
Dave, can you just update, for Facebook World, can you just update real quick on the parade? Or what you talked about? The questions that.
Well,
that we
nothing
had.
has changed with the parade. The MSFA is having the touch a truck on that Saturday at 10 o'clock in Mr. Bergey's parking lot on 19 North Main Street, Artisans Way. And then at 2 o'clock, the parade will start. The roads won't close until really the very last minute, till a quarter of.
That's cool. No, I don't think I missed that. So in the Berkey lot, he's having.
Yep.
I think that's a pretty new development.
Yeah, no, it's been since the original.
That's pretty cool.
And I think they're convening afterwards at the casino or
And
something.
then the after party, they're calling it after party, but it's really award ceremonies, so they can go through North Main Street,
Yeah.
go out to the Ocean
And I
Valley
think they're
Drive,
getting
and if they want a trophy.
Really?
And they've done away with a lot of the trophies and gone
Totally
to,
different.
so we're talking about the Gen Z and all this. Even the fire companies don't want trophies anymore. We got trophy cases running out of years, we got trophies in boxes, trophies in attics. So they're changing a lot of those to monetary awards, $500, first place, $250, or whatever numbers, I don't know the exact.
Or voucher at the casino.
Well, the casino is providing
That's it.
vouchers.
Yeah, that's what I
for
want.
people who are.
So I think it's a $10 voucher for everybody who
Who are of
comes.
age.
I like the touch truck concept and address that business.
Well, and
So I missed that.
that's what the,
Apologize, but,
you know, Cotton Chamber, that's what they pushed for.
Yeah.
To again, bring the people here early, get businesses, have lunch, and then stay around
Yeah.
shop a little more for another hour or so after you eat lunch, and then have the
Yeah.
parade, and hopefully maybe even stay for dinner. Because the after award ceremony is only for parade participants, not for the public.
Oh.
So hopefully the public, you know, if they didn't get lunch and they just came down to and watched the parade, parade's over in X period of time. Oh, hey, we're already here, let's just have some dinner.
So Dave, you're going to use Steve McCabe Park as a staging area? Is that?
He mentioned that just, I think that's gonna be the police or
Right.
the other people, just the parking lot.
Right, but I guess they intend to block that street off because the residents of Kenwood.
Just the
need access.
parking lot, no, they're not gonna block
Okay.
any of the streets off Tripoli, Burley, any
They'll
of
be
the,
good there, okay.
you know, there'll still be one-way traffic through there, and I think they're gonna be all in the parking lot. I think his intent is like, we do have, you know, it's a firefighters parade.
Mhm.
We have, MSP wants to come, the local barrack. The sheriff, Matt's gonna want to ride through. So that's kind of where I think he's gonna have that park, because they're small cars.
And it's just gonna be our local area?
No, state.
For the whole state.
Well, that's what I was wondering. I mean,
State of
I-
Maryland, 168 member companies in the association.
It's pretty cool.
so I was wondering, when we think about, well, I guess that's just the rabbit hole. I'm thinking. I wonder if, not just Chris and Foley, but if the Lewises, you know what I'm saying?
No, we're not, I don't think we're extending the net that far,
I
are we?
know.
I think
Not for
we're
law,
keeping it to
just
local.
for
Just
state
for fire.
fire,
That's where I
local
was-
law.
That's where I was going with that.
And we're not
Okay,
extending that, we're gonna let the Firemen's Association handle that. That's all
I'm
that.
just curious.
Usually the ones that come through the parade that aren't are the local police, so like Berlin Police. Mayor and
Yeah.
Council, I think he instead
Yep,
you an
we've-
invitation that night.
Yep, We've
So
been
have
in
you been
contact.
online and registered?
We've been in contact,
Yeah.
Sarah sent it us.
Yeah, somebody ought to go online and register, make sure you
Yeah,
have to hear that. So that's
So there, I think so for Maine is gonna be closed at 1:45.
somewhere in that
Somewhere
area.
in
Yeah,
there.
we did
Yeah.
parade and then-
Couple hours.
Couple errors. and-
Leaky
Couple
Couple
hours,
hours.
yeah.
3 hours.
Yeah.
We
We
hope
hope
so.
people,
We
I
hope
hope
so.
across the board.
Yeah.
They're not stopping for
A
paint.
lot of people
Yeah.
are looking forward, they're like, I'm
That's
glad,
great.
I always want to see Berlin anyway, and it's a
It's a
Saturday.
great, really
So,
draws it.
It makes it easier.
I think there's a chance it's gonna be pretty
I
crowded.
like
The
it.
other is on a Wednesday.
I will think.
Wednesday.
All right, can we, let's adjourn.
Oh, sorry.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second. Oh, you don't need that, did you?
Yeah. Motion by Jay, second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
So that's,